and veterinary officers have been signed, and the process is underway for land surveyors and advocates. These agreements allow professionals in these categories to practice anywhere within the region, as each partner state recognizes one another's conformity assessments. Under the monetary union pillar, programs for harmonization of capital markets and payment systems are ongoing. The community has harmonized critical policies necessary for sustainable monetary union and remains firmly on course towards attaining a single currency by the year 2024. The East African Legislative Assembly recently enacted the East African Monetary Institute Bill 2018 and the East African Statistics Bureau Bill 2018. There's also considerable progress in the political federation pillar, and the EAC has set the stage for the commencement of developing a constitution for the political confederation as a transitional model of the East African Political Federation. EAC partner states' armed forces, police, and civilian components have established a combined joint task force that plans and undertakes joint operations. Such joint operations incorporate peace support operations, counterterrorism, counter-piracy and disaster management, as well as tackle other complex security challenges in the region. Several safety monitoring centers have also been established on Lake Victoria. Your Excellencies, since 2016, the EAC has mobilized over $360 million from various development partners as grants. These include USAID, the European Union, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the United Nations, the Federal Republic of Germany, the People's Republic of China, Japan, Denmark, Switzerland, and the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, among many others. These funds are all allotted to support various development projects and programs in the community. In addition to the above, the African Development Bank and African Development Fund approved $2.5 billion for the implementation of new and ongoing priority infrastructure projects in the EAC region up to the year 2022. The significant strides made in resource mobilization are indicators of our development partners' confidence in us. We look forward to mobilizing more resources for development projects in our region in 2019. Your Excellencies, I wish to inform you that the EAC received a clean audit report for all EAC organs and institutions for the financial year 2017-2018. The EAC Secretariat has also operationalized a project coordination unit to better facilitate the coordination of projects. The unit serves as a one-stop desk for information on EAC projects, both internally and externally. The EAC Secretariat has continued implementing minimal reforms aimed at managing our travel budget with the view of ensuring efficiency. To this end, Your Excellencies, the EAC travel budget has reduced significantly as we are now using video conference facilities as well as hosting more meetings at the EAC headquarters. We shall continue implementing reforms until we conform to internationally accepted standards. Your Excellencies, despite these significant achievements, it is ironic that most East Africans cannot associate themselves with the community. To address the challenge, EAC organs and institutions have embarked on various outreach programs to educate East Africans on the integration process and its role in their lives. Going forward, the EAC will work on building stronger relationships with the private sector, both within the region and globally. We acknowledge the private sector has a vital role in taking our integration agenda to higher heights through investments in critical industrial and service sectors, creation of a competitive advantage for the region, as well as creation of jobs. Your Excellencies, you have worked on a detailed roadmap. We have worked on a detailed roadmap to integrate the Republic of South Sudan in the EAC projects and programs which is currently under implementation. Mainstreaming of the Republic of South Sudan needs to be fast-tracked to be at the same level of integration with the other partner states, especially in the implementation of the customs union and the common market protocols. Your Excellencies, as we mark 20 years of regional integration, our achievements cannot be downplayed. The East African community of today is not what it was 20 years ago in terms of development. Our countries are more vibrant with increased trade, improved infrastructure, and an overall positive trend in socio-economic development. The EAC is in the global spotlight as the most promising regional economic community. I wish to conclude by thanking you, Your Excellencies, for your commitment, zeal, and determination to make the EAC dream a reality. I also wish to acknowledge the EAC policy organs for their guidance. I thank you all for your attention and wish the 20th Ordinary Summit of the EAC Heads of State fruitful deliberations. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Secretary General. I now call upon the outgoing chairperson of the Council to make his statement and present the reports of Council to the Summit and the report on implementation of previous directives and decisions of the Summit that covers A, status of ratification of protocols, B, status on resolution of long outstanding non-tariff barriers, progress report on the review of the East African Development Bank to mainstream it into the East African community main structures, report on the roadmap for the accelerated integration of the Republic of South Sudan. Chairperson of the Council.
Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, Your Excellencies, members of the Summit, Excellencies, Head of States and Governments, Honorable Ministers, Cabinet Secretaries, the Secretary General of the East African Community, Right Honorable Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly, His Lordship, the Judge, President of the East African Court of Justice, Excellencies, Head of UN agencies, Representative of regional economic communities, Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, Representative of the development partners and private sector, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. You have listened carefully to the report of the Secretary General, and I am not going to repeat what the Secretary General has done because he implements what the Council directs. I'll only bring out the few items which to reassure you that the Council is moving. One of the things which was enshrined in our treaty was that the East African is people-based and private sector-led. Your Excellencies, I want to report that yesterday I witnessed the headquarters of the private sector in Arusha. It is on the one of the big floors in one of the buildings here, and I thought, as it is one, you better have a look at the chairman, so that of the private sector, And His Excellencies are pretty tired. They have been sitting all the day. But maybe just a few words, and I continue with my speech. Can you come? He is Nicholas Nesbit, the chairman of the East African Business Council.
Thank you, Chairman, Your Excellencies. And if I may, in the spirit of being brief, simply say all protocols observed. I have a very long speech, but again, in terms of being brief, let me say a few words. I want to appreciate, first of all, the work that has been done over the last few days in addressing some of the long-standing issues, in particular the non-tariff barriers. My board, who's up here from the East African Business Council, we've had very intense deliberations around what it's going to take to be successful in East Africa. And I think, if I really get to the heart of it, it is ensuring that we think region before we think nation. That is very difficult in the heat of the moment. I know private sector influences trade policy selfishly. As the East African Business Council, we want to bring an East African perspective to this. We think it's shameful that 150 million people who wear shoes have to buy shoes, and particularly used ones, from other parts of the world. We think it's shameful that some of the very able manufacturers of garments can sell them to Macy's and Marks and Spencer's and other companies for $7 a garment, and 3 or 4 years later, we wear those same used garments and pay a similar price. And in the meantime, in Burundi, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, we allow our cotton industry to degrade, our ginneries to rust, and our production to disappear. And then we say, let's be manufacturers, let's be producers, and simply we turn into traders. So as the East African Business Council, we're paying a lot of attention to this drive to produce. We want to be producers of value. We don't want to be traders. There's a role for traders. There's a role for traders. But let's manufacture. On that particular note, it's also very important. We've spent a lot of time with our Minister of Foreign Affairs in Kenya and many others in Tanzania. And we're talking about we need regional value chains. If Kenya, for example, is going to manufacture or assemble, let me say, German vehicles in Thika, why can't we have tires from Tanzania, exhaust pipes from Uganda, dashboards from Burundi? So this becomes an East African car, not just a Kenyan car. If Scania does that in Dar es Salaam, let it be the same thing. And I promise you, legislators, these sticky things called non-tariff barriers will drop when that truck made by whichever company reaches the Namanga border. The immigration and customs officials will say, "Hini wetu, let it go through." So our vision, Your Excellencies, our visions of private sector is let the trucks rumble through Namanga without stopping. We'll use technology, we'll ensure that things are done properly, but that's our vision. And most importantly, let me say, it is a shame again that we waste the resources that we have, the intellectual capacity of our youth, the industrial drive of our entrepreneurs, by limiting them to national borders. Let us be free. Let us be free at last, as they say. 150 million people. Local investors can get economies of scale, and most importantly, not even most importantly, let me just say, additionally, foreign investors can see East Africa for what it is, a 150 million people market. So we implore, we urge that we as private sector get a seat at the table. We have been observers for a long time. We would like to get out of the proverbial stands, come into the field, and help in the formulation of trade policy and not come to events like this just to listen to a readout. We want to participate because our heart is in exactly the same place as the legislators. And as the chairman said, we're here to make jobs, create wealth, and uplift our people from poverty. With a few words, let me say asanteni, and we really appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
I presume that is more interesting for you to hear than a litany of the similar things which has been repeated by the Secretary General from me. That alone, it is with great pleasure and humility that I welcome Your Excellencies, the East African heads of states and government, development partners, private sector representatives, partner states delegations, and all the invited guests to the 20th Ordinary Summit of the East African Head of State. The past 2 years, during which the Republic of Uganda has been the chair of the East African Council of Ministers, have witnessed tremendous strides in various facets and the regional integration process. These achievements in the report of the Council have been elaborated by the Secretary General. Your Excellencies, the future of the intra-East African trade looks bright, going by efforts put in place by the Council of Ministers to eliminate the tariff barriers. They have hindered the smooth flow of goods as envisioned in the Customs Union and a common market process. I'm glad to report that out of 62 non-tariff barriers that were brought to the attention of the Council, 45 have been resolved, while 17 are still pending. Only 2 have attended to be chronic. But we have had guidance, and the new minister of Tanzania undertook that they would sit with their counterpart, and that will be history. On industrial development, the Council has recorded remarkable progress as per the directives of the 19th Summit on the reduction in the importation of used motor vehicles from outside the country, the community, by promoting motor vehicle assembly. Similar progress has been made with regard to nurturing a strong domestic textile and a leather sector that will give better quality options for the East African consumers on a competitive basis. Your Excellency, infrastructure development has remained high on the agenda of the Council. I would like to thank our development partners for their commitment to support the community's initiative in this area. For instance, in October 2018, the African Community Initiative in the area, for instance, in October 2018, African Development Bank, under the East African Regional Integration Strategy, Indicative Operational Program, approved a total of $558,000.12 million for implementing projects under road, railway, energy, ICT, and civil aviation with the EAC for the next 5 years. These are projects in the list of heads of state priority in infrastructure projects. Your Excellencies, on the political front, partner states have already nominated constitutional experts to draft the consultations of the East African Political Confederation. I'm confident that this team of eminent legal experts will soon come up with a draft constitution for the proposed confederation. Your Excellency, you will recall that the 19th summit directed the Council to expedite the reorganization of the East African Secretariat to allow for the competitive recruitment on a rotational basis of 2 deputy secretary generals. Accordingly, the ad hoc service commission submitted its report to the Council that will shortly convene a session to consider the recommendation and implementation of the required institutional mechanism to make the East African Secretariat and its institutions to be able to fulfill their mandate expeditiously. With these few remarks, allow me to present myself for the last time, and I thank all the people who have collaborated with me to make my work very successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson of the Council. I invite comments on the report. And I see none, the reports of the Council of Ministers for the period under review are adopted. I thank the Council of Ministers for the progress achieved in the community's project and programs during the period under review. With regards to a number of items that were listed on the agenda, I don't need to read all of them, but because you will find them in the communique, our decisions on these matters have been considered and are reflected in the closed session and are contained in the communique. When the time comes to read the communique, or I just give you a hint of what the items are. It is endorsement of Kenya's candidature for the non-permanent membership of the United Nations Security Council for a 2-year term for the period 2021 to 22. 2, progress report on the verification exercise for the admission of the Federal Republic of Somalia into the East African Community. 3, report on implementation status of the protocol on the establishment of the East African Community Customs Union and the protocol on the establishment of the East African Community Common Market. 4, progress report on the adoption of political confederation as a transitional model of the East African Political Federation. Progress report on the summit directive of having 2 deputy secretaries general at the East African Community recruited competitively on rotational basis. 6, financial status of the East African Community. 7, report on the modalities for the promotion or of the motor vehicle assembly in the region and the reduction of importation of used motor vehicles. 8, report on the review of the textile and the leather sector with the view of developing a strong and competitive domestic sector that gives consumers better choice than imported textile and footwear. 9, and the last, progress report of the chair of the East African Community Summit on the EU-EAC Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA. Our decision, as I said, our decisions will be found in the communique. For judicial oath and oath of allegiance by the newly appointed judge of the East African Court of Justice from the United Republic of Tanzania. Now we considered this matter in our closed session. I request the council to the community to report on this matter.
Excellency, as you consider this matter in your closed session, you did accept to appoint Honorable Lady Justice Sauda Majasiri, pursuant to Article 24.1 of the Treaty for the Establishment of the East African Community, as a judge to the East African Court of Justice in the Appellate Division. Excellency, it is a requirement that before she assumes her duties as a judge at the East African Court of Justice, she needs to step forward to take an oath of allegiance and a judicial oath before you. And thereafter, you'll sign her judicial oath and the oath of allegiance. Excellency, remember you have partially signed the instrument of appointment. May I call upon the registrar, please, to step forward with the Lady Justice.
Your Excellency, the Chair of the Summit, Excellencies present and all protocols observed, allow me to introduce Lady Justice Sauda Majasiri from the United Republic of Tanzania. Lady Justice Majasiri is a graduate of University of Dar es Salaam with a law degree. She also holds 2 master's degrees in international business from Southern New Hampshire University in America. She started her legal career as a principal legal counsel with Tanzania Legal Corporation in 1977. Thereafter, she moved to PTA Bank in Nairobi, where she rose to become the head of legal compliance. In the year 2004, she was appointed as a judge of the High Court of the United Republic of Tanzania, where she worked in both the commercial division and the criminal division. In the year 2008, she was appointed to the Court of Appeal of the United Republic of Tanzania, the highest court in URT. Today, she is moving upwards to a regional court. She is a member of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, a member of Tanzania Women Association, member of Tanzania Women Judges Association, and International Association of Women Lawyers. She is fluent in Kiswahili, English, and French. For your information, Your Excellencies, currently we have only 1 lady judge. She'll be joining her, at least there will be 2.
I, Sauda Majasiri, do solemnly swear that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to the East African community, and that I'll preserve, protect, and defend the treaty for the establishment of the East African community as by law established. So help me God. I, Sauda Majasiri, do solemnly swear that I will well and truly serve the East African community in the office of Judge of the East African Court of Justice, and that I will do justice in accordance with the treaty for the establishment of the East African community as by law established, and in accordance with the laws and customs of the East African community without fear or favor, affection, or ill will. So help me God. I sign here.
The appointment takes effect actually from 13th February 2019. Now, sent to bills passed by the East African Legislative Assembly. I call upon the Council to the community to introduce the subject matter.
Excellencies, you may wish to recall that at your 17th Ordinary Summit, you took a decision to assent to bills that are presented to partner states at least 3 months in advance, and to which you have given a no objection. Excellencies, pursuant to that arrangement, the East African Legislative Assembly has since submitted the following bills, which are ready for assent. The first one is the Oath Bill 2018, which is meant to provide a framework for regulating the administration of oath in the community. The second bill, the East African Monetary Institute Bill 2018, that has been passed in accordance with the provisions of Article 21 of the Protocol on the establishment of the East African Community Monetary Union. The Monetary Institute is expected to do the preparatory work to enable the community to move into a monetary union. And lastly, but not least, the ESC Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018, which is to give a legal framework for the budget provisions, for the supplementary budget provisions. Excellencies, we seek your indulgence to sign these bills, which we are going to pass around, and we thank you for that.
While the bills are being signed, we go to the next item, awards for the winners of the East African Community Students Essay Writing Competition 2017. I call upon the Director of Social Sector at the East African Secretariat to present this item. reminded, I'm told that Deputy Director General Christophe Bazivamo, you will make the presentations.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Excellencies, in 2017, as it is in our common practices, students from primary, secondary school have done a competition, what we call normally the student essay writing competition in all partner states. And this is done, meaning the competition is organized at 3 levels: the school level, the national level, and the regional level. In 2017, this competition have been done, but awards were not given. And it is the reason why these awards of 2017 are going to be given together with the one of 2018. We have children from all partner states, and here I would wish they come here in the front. And for the 2017 essay student essay writing competition winners, we have Chebet Hope Josephine. This one is has the 5th prize. From the school girls, which is called Nabisusa from Uganda. Fourth prize, we have Mwando Alice Kayo from Mary Hills Girls High School in Kenya. Third prize, we have Shuti Allegra, École des Sciences de Musanze, Rwanda. For the second prize, we have Sengyumva Nestor, Lycée de Makamba, Burundi. For the first prize, Your Excellencies, we have Mikael Msafiri Nyaruga from Kiwaha Secondary School, Tanzania. These are the ones for 2017. In 2018, for the fifth prize, we have Nico Wanhonze John Raoul, Makamba Secondary School, Republic of Burundi. For the fourth prize, you have Kezia Furaha Beza, Fawe Girls Schools, Gisozi, Republic of Rwanda. For the third prize, we have Muringwa Christopher, Kibuka Memorial Secondary School, Republic of Uganda. Second prize, Chacha Emmanuel, Chevoet Secondary School, Republic of Kenya. For the first prize, Your Excellencies, we have Innocent Shirima Moshi Secondary School for United Republic of Tanzania. So I wish to say that in addition to the certificate they have received, they have also a kind of amount of money they have received from 500 USD for the first one and USD 650 for the fifth one. Thank you, Excellencies.
Here, Deputy Secretary General. Item 5, statements by heads of state of the summit. I think we had reached an agreement. If you follow by that, let me say a few things on their Excellencies' behalf. Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, our gracious host, Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda, Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellency Gaston Sindimo, First Vice President of the Republic of Burundi, Honorable Paul Mayom Akech, Minister of Trade, Industry, and East African Community representing President Salva Kiir, Mayardit of the Republic of South Sudan, heads of delegation, honorable ministers, senior officials, Secretary General of the East African Community, leaders of the highest institutions of the East African Community, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by thanking His Excellency President Magufuli and the government of Tanzania for your warm hospitality. I also want to thank His Excellency President Museveni, outgoing chair of the Summit of Heads of State of the East African Community, for steering well the organization for the last 2 years. Allow me to take this opportunity to express our solidarity with the President of Kenya, President Uhuru, and the people of Kenya in the fight against terrorism. It is an honor to serve as the chairperson of our summit for the next year. I look forward to working together with my fellow leaders to serve the people of East Africa. This summit comes at an important moment as we approach the 20th anniversary of the revival of the East African Community. We have much to celebrate, but it is also a moment to reflect on the meaning and value of this community, which is important to all of us. It is an opportunity to address whatever challenges exist directly and frankly, so that we can move confidently together into the future. Africa is moving ahead with deeper integration, as are other regional economic communities, which are essential building blocks of continental integration. We cannot afford to fall behind, particularly when the East African Community was starting to make good progress. It is up to us to ensure that this community works for us as it should. Nothing should hold us back from the important business that we have committed to for our collective good, including trade, infrastructure, industrialization, and security. As leaders of the community, we therefore need to come together in a spirit of solidarity and unity for the benefit and well-being of the citizens of our region. Our treaty is clear that the East African Community is people-centered. This should inform all our reflections and actions. We will measure success by how easily our people, their goods and capital move within our region and how prosperous in the end they become as a result. Excellencies, this is our task. I know we are equal to it if we choose to put all our energies into making it happen. I thank you very much for your kind attention. Asanteni sana. Now, we are going to consider and adopt the communique. I invite the Secretary General to read the communique, which is a summary of the decisions that we have taken on matters discussed at this summit. Mr. Secretary General.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Communique of the 20th Ordinary Summit of the East African Community Heads of States. Arusha International Conference Center, Aicc, Arusha, Tanzania, 1st February 2019. Joint communique. The East African Community Heads of State, their Excellencies, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of the Republic of Uganda, President Paul Kagame of the Republic of Rwanda, President Uhuru Kenyatta of the Republic of Kenya, President Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli of the United Republic of Tanzania, His Excellency Gaston Sindimwo, First Vice President representing President Pierre Nkurunziza of the Republic of Burundi, and Honorable Paul Moyom Akek, Minister of Trade, Industry, and EAC Affairs, representing President Salva Kiir Mayardit of the Republic of South Sudan, held the 20th Ordinary Summit of the East African Community Heads of State at the Arusha International Conference Center in the United Republic of Tanzania on 1st February 2019. The heads of state met in a warm and cordial atmosphere. The summit received the report of the Council of Ministers covering the period 23rd February 2018 to 31st January 2019 and commended the Council for the progress made in the implementation of the programs and projects of the community. The summit considered a report of the Council on the implementation of the previous directives and decisions of the summit and directed the Council to implement all outstanding directives and decisions and report to the 21st summit. The summit received a report on the status of ratification of protocols and directed partner states to ratify all outstanding protocols and the Council to report to the 21st summit. The summit noted the status of resolution of long outstanding non-tariff barriers and directed partner states and the Council to resolve them. The summit received a report of the Council that all partner states had nominated constitutional experts to work on the constitution of the political confederation. The summit directed the Council to cause the experts to provide a preliminary report within 7 months. The summit decided that President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni shall provide political guidance to the exercise. The summit received a progress report on the review of the East African Development Bank Charter to streamline it into the EAC mainstream. The summit directed the Council of Ministers to expedite the process. The summit considered a report on the roadmap for the accelerated integration of the Republic of South Sudan into the EAC, and directed the Council to conclude the process. The summit received a progress report that the verification exercise for the admission of the Federal Republic of Somalia into the East African Community had not been undertaken. The summit directed the Council to follow up on the matter and report to the 21st summit. The summit considered a report on the modalities for the promotion of motor vehicle assembly in the region, aimed at reducing the importation of used motor vehicles from outside the community, and directed the Council to follow up the matter and report to the 21st summit. The summit received a report on the review of the textile and leather sector in East Africa, with a view to developing a strong and competitive sector that gives consumers better choices than imported textiles and footwear. The summit directed the Council to conclude the matter and report to the 21st summit. The summit recalled its directive of having 2 Deputy Secretaries General at the East African Community recruited competitively on a rotational basis, and decided that the Deputy Secretary General from the United Republic of Tanzania and the Deputy Secretary General from the Republic of Rwanda shall serve their respective 2 terms in office. The summit received a progress report from His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on the EU-EAC Economic Partnership Agreement, and decided that the EAC engages the European Union on the matter in the next 4 months to get more clarification on the pertinent issues of concern. Thereafter, partner states who wish to may or may not sign the EAC-EU Economic Partnership Agreement. The summit assented to the EAC Oaths Bill 2018, the EAC Monetary Institute Bill 2018, and the EAC Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2018. The summit received a report on the financial status of the East African Community and directed partner states to fulfill their financial obligations to the community in a timely manner. The summit endorsed the Republic of Kenya's candidature for the non-permanent membership of the United Nations Security Council for a 2-year term for the period 2021-2022. The summit, pursuant to Article 24(1) of the Treaty for the Establishment of the East African Community, appointed Honorable Lady Justice Sauda Mjasiri as judge to the Appellate Division of the East African Court of Justice with effect from 13 February 2019. The Honorable Lady Justice Sauda Mjasiri replaces Honorable Justice Edward Rutakangwa, who will be retiring on 12 February 2019. The summit commended Honorable Justice Edward Rutakangwa for his dedicated service to the community. The summit presented awards to the winners of the EAC Students Essay Writing Competition 2017 and 2018 editions, respectively. The summit directed the Council within 3 months to review the relevant policies and harmonize the framework for importation of goods into the EAC with a view to supporting the growth of local industries. His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni handed over the chairmanship to His Excellency President Paul Kagame. The United Republic of Tanzania took over as rapporteur from the Republic of Rwanda. The summit thanked His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for ably steering the affairs of the community during his tenure. The summit received a report from the facilitator of the Inter-Burundi Dialogue, His Excellency Benjamin Mkapa, former President of the United Republic of Tanzania. The summit thanked the facilitator for his contribution to the dialogue during his tenure. the summit decided to consult further on the inter-Burundi dialogue process. Their Excellencies, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of the Republic of Uganda, President Paul Kagame of the Republic of Rwanda, President Uhuru Kenyatta of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Gaston Sindimwo, First Vice President representing President Pierre Nkurunziza of the Republic of Burundi, and Honorable Paul Moyom Akek, Minister of Trade, Industry, and EAC Affairs, representing President Salva Kiir Mayardit of the Republic of South Sudan, thanked their host, President Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli of the United Republic of Tanzania, for the warm hospitality extended to them and their delegations during their stay in Arusha. Done at Arusha this first day of February 2019. Thank you.
I call for proposals to adopt the communique. I don't see any. The communique is adopted. Any other business? Is there any other business? If there is no other business, Your Excellencies, we have come to the end of the 20th summit. I thank you for your participation, and I request the Secretary to inform us of the next activity. Mr. Secretary General.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. The next activity will be a photo session. The photo session will include the heads of state. We only have 4 photo sessions, four photos, and the first one will be the head of state, the chair of the council, and the Secretary General. We are going to have them in this hall, and we are going to put chairs in front here where the heads of state will sit, and those who are to take photos with them will stand behind. So as we finalize the signing of the acts, we are going to have the arrangement for the photo session. Thereafter, it is now 7:30. According to the program, we are supposed to have a luncheon. I do not know whether we still call it a luncheon, but we will still have dinner now. So we will have dinner. It's arranged. The heads of state will have dinner on an arranged place within this facility, and the rest of the invited guests will have lunch in Nyasa Hall. You'll be directed. It is just outside across the parking yard. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to the dinner. Thank you. The next session can I call upon all the ministers to come and join His Excellencies for the next photo. All ministers, please come and stand behind. I ask all those people who are standing behind the photo group to move aside. The next one, can we have the Chair of the Council, the Secretary General, the Speaker of East African Legislative Assembly, the Judge President, Deputy Secretaries General, the EAC judges, and ARA members of Parliament. The Deputy Secretaries General, the judges, and members of Parliament. The last one is the Chair of the Council, the Secretary General, and the winners of the secondary school essay writing competition. Please, the winners, come quickly and stand behind. Your Excellencies, you wanted the judges. They came. The judges only. The judges only, and I am requested by the Business Council also that if you so allow, Your Excellencies.